Glories to Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. All glories to Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta Madhya Lila, Chapter 22, Text 81. Titik Shava Karunika Swarda Sarva Dehinam. It's text 81, Maharaj. 81? Yeah. Titik Shava Karunika Sarudhada Sarva Dehinam. Ajata Satrabha Shantaha Sarava Sadhu Bhushana. Devotees are always tolerant, forbearing, and very merciful. They are the well-wishers of every living entity. They follow the scriptural injunctions, and because they have no enemies, they are very peaceful. These are the decorations of devotees. Purport. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 3.25.21. When the sages, headed by Sanaka, inquired about Kapila Dev, the incarnation of Godhead Sutta Goswami, who was the topmost devotee of the Lord, quoted talks about self-realization between Vidura and Maitreya, a friend of Vyasadev's. During these talks, the topic of Lord Kapila had come up, and at that time Maitreya had repeated Kapila Dev's discussions with his mother, wherein the Lord states that attachment to material things is the cause of conditioned life. When a person becomes attached to transcendental things, he is on the path of liberation. Mahatsivam Dvaram Mahatsivam Dvaram Ahur Vimuktes Tanod Param Yoshitam Sangi Sangha Mahantaste Sama Chita Prashanta Imanyavas Shurdha Sadhavoye. It is the verdict of all Shastras and great personalities that service to a pure devotee is the path of liberation. By contrast, association with materialistic people who are attached to material enjoyment and women is the path of darkness. Those who are actually devotees are broad-minded, equal to everyone, and very peaceful. They never become angry, and they are very friendly to all living entities. This is a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 5.5.2. 83. Krishna Bhakti Janva Mula Haya Saru Sangha Krishna Prema Janme Tenho Muna Mukhya Ange. The root cause of devotional service to Lord Krishna is association with advanced devotees. Even when one's dormant love for Krishna awakens, association with devotees is still most essential. '84. Bhavapavargo brahmato yadha bhavaj janasya tarhya chuta sat samagama satsangamo yarhi tadaiva sadgato paravarshe tvayi jayata rati. O my Lord, O infallible Supreme Person, when a person wandering throughout the universes becomes eligible for liberation from material existence, he gets an opportunity to associate with the devotees. When he associates with devotees, his attraction for you is awakened. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the highest goal of the topmost devotees, and the Lord of the universe. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.51.53. Atha achantikam keshmam karchamo bhavato dhaga Samsaresmin kshanaro Samsaresmin kshanardopi Satsanga sevadir nirnam. O devotees, O you who are free from all sins, let me inquire from you about that which is supremely auspicious for all living entities. Association with a pure devotee for even half a moment in this material world is the greatest treasure for human society. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 11.2.30. 86. Satam prashangan mama dhirya samviro Bhavanti hritkarna rasayana kata Tajjo sanad asva varmatani Shadharatir bhaktir anukramasyati. The spiritually powerful message of Godhead can be properly discussed only in a society of devotees, and it is greatly pleasing to hear it in that association. If one hears from devotees, the way of transcendental experience quickly opens, and gradually one attains firm faith that in due course develops into attraction and devotion. Purport. This is a quote from Srimad Bhagavatam 3.25.25. For an explanation, see Adi Lila 1.60. 87. Satsanga Tyaga Ei Vaishnava Chara Sri Sangi Eka Asadu Krishna Bhakta Ara. A Vaishnava should always avoid the association of ordinary people. Common people are very much materially attracted and attached, especially to women. Vaishnavas should also avoid the company of those who are not devotees of Lord Krishna. 88 through 90. Satyam socham daya maunam budhir shrir yashachama samodama bhagascheti yat sanghayati sanshayam tesvasanteshu mudeshu kanditatmas vashadhusu sangamna kuryacho yeshu yoshikhrida mrideshu cha natatasya bhavin moho vandaschanya prashangata yoshit sangadyatha pumso yatta tatsangi sangata. By association with worldly people, one becomes devoid of truthfulness, cleanliness, mercy, gravity, spiritual intelligence, shyness, austerity, fame, forgiveness, control of the mind, control of the senses, fortune, and all opportunities. One should not at any time associate with a coarse fool who is bereft of the knowledge of self-realization and who is no more than a toy animal in the hands of a woman. The illusion and bondage that accrue to a man from attachment to any other object are not as complete as that resulting from association with a woman or with men too much attached to women. Purport. These verses, quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam 30.31.33 through 35, were spoken by Kapila Dev, an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to his mother. Herein, Kapila Dev discusses pious and impious activities and the symptoms of those who are devoid of devotional service to Krishna. Generally, people do not know about the miserable conditions within the womb of a mother in any species of life. Due to bad association, one gradually falls into lower species. Association with women is greatly stressed in this regard. When one becomes attached to women, or to those who are attached to women, one falls down in the lower species. Purusha prakriti stohi punkte prakriti jan gunan karanam guna sangosha sa asadhyoni janmasu. The living entity in material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the three modes of nature. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus he meets with good and evil among various species. Bhagavad Gita 13.22. According to Vedic civilization, one's association with women should be very much restricted. In spiritual life, there are 4 ashrams: brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyas. The brahmachari, vanaprastha, and sannyas are completely forbidden to associate with women. Only grihasthas are allowed to associate with women under certain very much restricted conditions. That is, one associates with women to propagate nice children. Other reasons for association are condemned. Varamhuta Bahajvala Antarantar Yadhastiti Masuri Chinta Vimuka Janna Sambhasa Vaishasham. It is better to accept the miseries of being encaged within bars and surrounded by burning flames than to associate with those bereft of Krishna consciousness. Such association is very great hardship. This is a quotation from the Katyayana Samhita 22.92. Vadrakshiha China Punyan Kvachid Api Bhagavad Bhakti Hinan Manushyan. One should not even see those who are bereft of devotional service and Krishna consciousness, and who are therefore devoid of pious activities. 93. Etasaba chariyara varnashrama dharma akinchana hanalaya krishnaika sarana. Without hesitation, one should take exclusive shelter of Lord Krishna with full confidence, giving up bad association and even neglecting the regulative principles of the 4 varnas and 4 ashrams. That is to say, one should abandon all material attachment. 94. Sarva dharmam prityaga mamikam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshasyami masucha. After giving up all kinds of religious and occupational duties, if you come to me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and take shelter, I shall give you protection from all of life's sinful reactions. Do not worry. This is a quotation from Bhagavad Gita 18.66, spoken by Lord Krishna. For an explanation, refer to Madhya Lila 8.63. 95. Bhaktavatsala Pritagya Samartha Vadanya Hina Krishna Chari Pandit Nahi Bhajayanya. Lord Krishna is very kind to his devotees. He is always very grateful and magnanimous, and he possesses all abilities. A learned man does not give up Krishna to worship anyone else. Purport. An intelligent person gives up the company of those who are attached to women and bereft of Krishna consciousness. One should be free from all kinds of material attachment and should take full shelter under the lotus feet of Krishna. Krishna is very kind to his devotees. He is always grateful, and he never forgets the service of a devotee. He is also completely opulent and all-powerful. Why then should one take shelter of a demigod and leave Lord Krishna's shelter? If one worships a demigod and leaves Krishna, he must be considered the lowest fool. 96. Apannitastvad aparam saranam samiyad. Bhakta priya vritta gira surda krutagyat. Sarvandharati surdo bhajato vikaman. Atmanam apyupo chaya pachayo nayasya. My dear Lord, you are very affectionate to your devotees. You are also a truthful and grateful friend. Where is that learned man who would give you up and surrender to someone else? You fulfill all the desires of your devotees, so much so that sometimes you even give yourself to them. Still, you neither increase nor decrease by such activity. Purport. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.48.26. 97. Vijhajane rahaya yari Krishna guna jnana anyacha jiva jetate udhava pramana. Whenever an experienced person develops real knowledge of Krishna and his transcendental qualities, he naturally gives up all other engagements and renders service to the Lord. Uddhava gives evidence concerning this. 98. Aho bhakiyam stanakala kutam tigam sayapayad api ashadvi lebegatim bhatriyuchitam tatonyam kambhadhayalam saranam brajema. Oh, how wonderful it is! Putana, the sister of Bakasura, wanted to kill Krishna by smearing deadly poison on her breasts and having Krishna take it. Nonetheless, Lord Krishna accepted her as his mother, and thus she attained the destination befitting Krishna's mother. Of whom should I take shelter but Krishna, who is most merciful? This is a quote from Srimad Bhagavatam 3.2.23. 99. Saranaga thera akincha dhera eke lakshana thara madhe praveshaye atma samarpana. There are two kinds of devotees, those who are fully satiated and free from all material desires, and those who are fully surrendered to the lotus feet of the Lord. Their qualities are one and the same, but those who are fully surrendered to Krishna's lotus feet are qualified with another transcendental quality, Atma Samarpana, full surrender without reservation. Anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya bharjanam rakshishyati ti vishvaso goptrudhe bharanam tata atmanikshepa karpanye sadvidha sharanagati. The 6 divisions of surrender are the acceptance of those things favorable to devotional service, the rejection of unfavorable things, the conviction that Krishna will give protection, the acceptance of the Lord as one's guardian or master, full self-surrender, and humility. Purport. One who is fully surrendered is qualified with the 6 following characteristics. The devotee has to accept everything that is favorable for rendering of transcendental loving service to the Lord. 2. He must reject everything unfavorable to Lord Krishna's service. This is also called renunciation. 3. A devotee must be firmly convinced that Krishna will give him protection. No one else can actually give one protection, and being firmly convinced of this is called faith. This kind of faith is different from the faith of an impersonalist who wants to merge into the Brahman effulgence in order to benefit a cessation of repeated birth and death. A devotee wants to remain always in the Lord's service. In this way, Krishna is merciful to his devotee and gives him all protection from the dangers found on the path of devotional service. 4. The devotee should accept Krishna as his supreme maintainer and master. He should not think that he is being protected by a demigod. He should depend only on Krishna, considering him the only protector. The devotee must be firmly convinced that within the three worlds he has no protector or maintainer other than Krishna. 5. Self-surrender means remembering that one's activities and desires are not independent. The devotee is completely dependent on Krishna, and he acts and thinks as Krishna desires. 6. The devotee is meek and humble. Lord Krishna states in Bhagavad Gita 15.15, Sarvasya chaham hridi sanivishto matha smrtir jnanam aponam cha ekaisya sarvar aham he bhejo vedanta krid vedavid eva chaham. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. Situated in everyone's heart, Krishna deals differently according to the living entity's position. The living entity's position is to be under the protection of the illusory energy, or under Krishna's personal protection. When a living entity is fully surrendered, he is under the direct protection of Krishna, and Krishna gives him all intelligence by which he can advance in spiritual realization. The non-devotee, however, being under the protection of the illusory energy, increasingly forgets his relationship with Krishna. Sometimes it is asked how Krishna causes one to forget. Krishna personally causes his devotee to forget material activities, and through the agency of Maya, Krishna causes the non-devotee to forget his devotional service to the Lord. This is called apohana. 101. Tavasmiti badhanvacha tathaiva manasa vidan tatstadam ashrutasthanda bodhate saranhangata. One whose body is fully surrendered takes shelter at the holy place where Krishna and his pastimes, where Krishna had his pastimes, and he prays to the Lord, "My Lord, I am yours." Understanding this with his mind, he enjoys spiritual bliss. Purport. The last two verses appear in the Hari Bhakti Vilas 11.417 through 18. 102. Sarhana lana kare Krishne atma samarpana Krishna tare kare tat kale atma sama. When a devotee thus fully surrenders unto Krishna's lotus feet, Krishna accepts him as one of his confidential associates. 103. Marcho yada chakta samasta karma niveditatma vichikirshito me tadam vritatvam pratipadyam mano mayatma bhuyaya chakalpati vai. The living entity who is subjected to birth and death attains immortality when he gives up all material activities, dedicates his life to the execution of my order, and acts according to my directions. In this way, he becomes fit to enjoy the spiritual bliss derived from exchanging loving mellows with me. Purport. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 11.29.34. Krishna was advising his most confidential servant, Uddhava, about Sambandha, Abhidya, Abhideya, and Prayojana. These concern one's relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the activities of that relationship, as well as the perfection of life. The Lord also described the characteristics of confidential devotees. 104. Eve sadhana bhakti lakshana suna sanatana yahaite pai Krishna prema mahadana. My dear Sanatan, please now hear about the regulative principles, the regulative principles for the execution of devotional service. By this process, one can attain the highest perfection of love of Godhead, which is the most desirable treasure. 105. Kriti sadhya babit sadhya bhavasa sadhana vidha nitya siddhasya bhavasya prakatyam vriddhi sadhyata. When transcendental devotional service, by which love for Krishna is attained, is executed by the senses, it is called sadhana bhakti, or the regulative discharge of devotional service. Such devotion eternally exists within the heart of every living entity. The awakening of this eternal devotion is the potentiality of devotional service and practice. Purport. This verse is found in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.2. Because living entities are minute atomic parts and parcels of the Lord, devotional service is already present within them in a dormant condition. Devotional service begins with Shravanam Kirtanam, hearing and chanting. When a man is sleeping, he can be awakened by sound vibration. Therefore, a very conditioned soul should be given the chance to hear the Hare Krishna mantra, chanted by a pure Vaishnava. One who hears the Hare Krishna mantra, thus vibrated, is awakened to spiritual consciousness, or Krishna consciousness. In this way, one's mind gradually becomes purified, as stated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Chito Darpana Marjana. When the mind is purified, the senses are also purified. Instead of using the senses for sense gratification, the awakened devotee employs the senses in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. This is the process by which dormant love for Krishna is awakened. 106. Shravanadi Priyatara Svarupa Lakshana Tatasta Lakshane Upajaya Premadhana. The spiritual activities of hearing, chanting, remembering, and so forth are the natural characteristics of devotional service. The marginal characteristic is that it awakens pure love for Krishna. 107. Nityasiddha Krishna Prema Saja Kabunaya Travanadi Surachite Karaye Udaya. Pure love for Krishna is eternally established in the hearts of the living entities. It is not something to be gained from another source. When the heart is purified by hearing and chanting, this love naturally awakens. 108. Ehita sadhana bhakti gurita prakara ekavaidhi bhakti raganuga bhakti ara. There are two processes of practical devotional service. One is regulative devotional service, and the other is spontaneous devotional service. 109. Ragahina jana bhaje shastrera agyaya Aidhi bhakti balitare Sarva Shastre Jaya. Those who have not attained the platform of spontaneous attachment in devotional service render devotional service under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. According to the regulative principles mentioned in the revealed scriptures, this kind of devotional service is called Vidhi Bhakti. Vidhi Bhakti. Purport. In the beginning, one has to hear from a bona fide spiritual master. This is favorable for advancing in devotional service. According to this process, one hears, chants, remembers, and engages in deity worship, acting under the directions of the spiritual master. These are the essential primary activities of devotional service. Devotional service must not be executed for some material purpose. One should not even have a desire to merge into the absolute truth. One has to render such service out of love only. Ahaituki, apratihata, ahoituki apratihata. Devotional service must be without ulterior motives. Then material conditions cannot check it. Gradually, one can rise to the platform of spontaneous loving service. A child is sent to school by force to receive an education, but when he gets a little taste of education at an advanced age, he automatically participates and becomes a learned scholar. One cannot force a person to become a scholar, but sometimes force is used in the beginning. A child is forced to go to school and read and write according to the instructions of his teachers. Such is the difference between Vidhi Bhakti and spontaneous Bhakti. Dormant love for Krishna exists in everyone's heart, and it simply has to be awakened by a regulative process of devotional service. One has to learn how to use a typewriter by following the regulative principles of the typing book. One has to place his fingers on the keys in such a way in practice, but when one becomes adept, he can type swiftly and correctly without even looking at the keys. Similarly, one has to follow the rules and regulations of devotional service as they are set down by the spiritual master. Then, one can come to the point of spontaneous loving service. This love is already there within the heart of everyone. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem. Spontaneous service is not artificial. One simply has to come to that platform by rendering devotional service according to the regulative principles. Thus, one has to practice hearing and chanting and follow the order of regulative principles by washing the temple, cleansing oneself, rising early in the morning, attending the Mangal Arti, and so on. If one does not come to the platform of spontaneous service, in the beginning he must adopt regulative service according to the instructions of the spiritual master. This regulative service is called Vidhi Bhakti. Thus ends our reading for today. Our glories to Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj Ki Jai. Our glories to Vishnupad Bhakti Charya Maharaj Ki Jai. Our glories to the assembled devotees Ki Jai. Our glories to the worldwide devotees Ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Haribol.